You read the title right. We're gonna be applying to clubs and promoters today. I want to get more and more into DJing. Now, I've been DJing for years, but I haven't really had any major gigs in a long time. If anything, I've been doing loads of house parties, functions, and, I've even thrown my own events with my company Gecko Court here in London. That's been an absolute roller coaster of a ride. I have a little BTS from one of my recent events. In the top right, there'll be a thing if you want to see that. But basically, I want to just throw myself out there at promoters and club owners and this and that to just try to shoot in the dark and see what sticks. If any club happens to be looking for a DJ, it's a pipe dream because I don't really have a big name in the DJing world. I feel like I'm starting to get a bit of traction here on YouTube as a creator, but as a DJ, ain't nobody's heard of Marigold, and that's fine. I feel like a lot of you guys might be in the same position here. I was feeling like doing this for a long time, and once in a while I'm DMing people, I'm sending emails, but I've never really recorded the process or opened up about it or shown this side of things. It's a lot of grinding, and to be honest, social proof is kind of one of the barriers into entry into this scene as a DJ. So without further ado, there's already some places that I have contacted, so I'll pop them up on screen and kind of show you what I've done. So quickly, I'll start with this one here is Paradox. They run events for XOYO, which is a very interesting club in London that has recently completely had a makeover. So it's super fresh right now. Insane new lighting system, insane new speaker system. I would love to play there. And so instead of reaching out to the club directly, which is probably something I'm going to do as well, just because you never know, I'm going to reach out to the promoters. Now, Paradox seemed interesting to me because they do Wednesdays, literally almost every Wednesday at XOYO. That's their slot for an event. Now, Wednesdays, you might say, that's not really a typical day, but here in London, every day is a night out. And also, because I'm a warm-up, because I might not be a hot name to book right now, there's not like you book my name and 5,000 people will show up outside your doors. It's not going to be like that, obviously. So Wednesday could be a great day for me to get started if I happen to get a residency with Paradox, for example, or a trial. You never know. I could not find an email of theirs. I did find their Instagram, and on Instagram, to most places, you're allowed to send one message invitation. So in this, as you can see, I've said, I've been following Paradox for a while, really appreciate your scene, London-based DJ playing a similar lane, and I'd be keen to put myself forward for any future lineups if it ever makes sense. Happy to send over a few mixes / my EPK. Is there a good email to reach you on for this? Thank you, Marigold. Now, key things I want to break down for this right here. I was concise, honest, and direct. Comment down below if you feel that I'm wrong with this, which is completely fine. I'm always open for conversation, but I feel like in this scene, you just have to put yourself out there and be confident with it because they understand the hustle as well. If you're going to be vague and apologetic and have a really long-winded message, most of the time they're just gonna ignore you. So quick, concise, what do you want? What are you here for? And professionalism. Is there a good email to reach you for this? Thank you, Marigold. Done. Let's see here. I've done a similar thing for this promoter called Airspace. Now, you might have heard of them. They're quite big. They have done open air raves in parking lots and other interesting places, but they actually also promote for clubs all over the UK. So not London specifically. But in my case, I also thought, I love these guys. I love their ethos. Let me see if I can reach out to them. So I did a very similar message. But in this case, I understood that they are also just lads that have started something interesting. And so I kind of wanted to speak a bit more youthfully. So I said, hi there, out of the blue, I wanted to shoot my shot. Right there, maybe you don't do that because it's a bit long-winded, but I feel like reading that now back, I'm like, okay, this guy's honest. He's just DM'd me without permission, but he's saying, I want to shoot my shot. It's fine. You're invading their space by sending them a message, I want to shoot my shot. I love what you guys are doing with Airspace. I'm a London-based DJ playing in a similar lane, and I'd be keen to put myself forward for any... So, almost the exact same from that point on. By the way, I sent all of these messages today, so I don't think there'll be a response for a long time. Before I continue, I just want to say, there's a fine line you gotta tread here, because, okay, from one point of view, the more you send out cold messages and cold emails, the higher the chances you're gonna be seen. But at the same time, make every message and every email personal, and also research their club, research their scene. If you don't know them, if you've never heard of them, it might not be the right person to contact. And if you do want to anyway, spend the time researching what kind of DJs they book, what their nights look like, Next thing you know, you've signed up for like a breakdancing competition DJ and you don't know how to DJ like that, you know? So definitely look up their genre, their artists and that. But with that in mind, keep the volume up. Like you're applying for jobs. You don't send one application and cross your fingers. Not in this job market. Let's continue. Right, so this place I found, Goodness, which is a promoter for multiple venues, including a big one called Fold. They have one email address that is publicly available, so I just used that one and I sent them a cold email. You're gonna be ignored more than 90% of the time, but like I said, I'm shooting my shot. So for this one, my name is Marigold. I've been following your nights for a while and I really like the direction your company takes things and the atmosphere you build, especially at Fold. I'm a London-based DJ playing in a similar lane and I'd be keen to put myself forward for any future lineups if it makes sense, as a warm-up DJ, for example. Happy to send over material mixes, but for the moment here are 2 of my favorite sets I've done, and I've also included my EPK below, which includes my social media. And then I shared 2 of my mixes, which also linked down below, one of which did pretty good with numbers and the other one which I recorded recently, both of which I'm really just playing songs that I really like, so it's just showing what I like. And keep in mind here, if you are applying to a very specific, like say techno club for example, don't send your house music set, you know, or don't send your drum and bass set. If you have a techno set, send that one. That's what I'm saying with the accuracy and the relevancy. Make sure that what you're sending makes sense. And then I shared my EPK. Now, if you don't know what an EPK is, mine is really basic. You want an artist picture, your name, a bio about yourself, one of your featured releases, like a song that you've released if you have done so. If not, maybe a DJ set. But I just chose not to include my DJ sets because I already sent those separately. And then I sent a Google Drive link with artist images so they can really have a look and see that I'm a real person. Then there's an Instagram bio, there's an Instagram link, my YouTube link, my SoundCloud link, and my Spotify link for the songs that I've released. I made this EPK on Google Slides. It took me like 30 minutes. I'm not even joking. An EPK does not have to be complicated. It just needs to be understandable and it needs to follow your brand. So I really like the aesthetic of this. Okay, thanks for your time, Marigold. So this one in general, I would say is a bit longer than the message on Instagram because obviously a message on Instagram needs to be quick and I'm asking for their email address so I can continue from that point. Here I already have their email address, so I'm just straight away sending my material. If I were to go ahead and send like this message without my materials, my links, my EPK, then they would have to follow up and then I would have to send another email yet again with that material. So if you want to reduce the friction by straight away, here's the first email and here's some of my mixes. Here's my EPK. Let me know if you want to see more. So this way, they don't even have to respond to you. They can just click on your links. You're making it a bit easier for them. But in the same sense, you're showing that you're quite upfront, you're visible, and you're confident. Yeah, then I did Phonox, which is just straight up a club. So I just messaged the club straight up because I was looking into their events. I've heard of Phonox a long time ago. I've never been there, but I just know that currently their events, they don't really publicly list their promoters. I'm sure they have many promoters and event organizers. They publicly show it as their own in-house events. So I assume they do their own promotion as well, if that makes any sense, which is why I just reached out to the club rather than the promoters of the club. My name is Marigold, quite similar. Been following your nights for a while and I really like the direction the Phonox takes things atmospherically and with your choice of DJs, which is true. I really like their underground DJs. They're going for quite a curated scene. London-based DJ playing in a similar lane. I'd be keen to put myself forward for any future lineups if it ever makes sense as a warm-up DJ, for example. You know, same exact thing. My mixes, my EPK. Done. Next, I did MOT, which is a club in Bermondsey, which is in London as well, South London, I believe. My name is Marigold. I've been following MOT for a while. Now, this is one of the OG clubs. They literally transformed a garage, like a MOT garage, into a club, which is really sick. I like the direction you take things and your choice of proper underground DJs. I feel like they would like those words. You know what I mean? So that's the tailoring right there. And for the rest of it, the email is pretty much the same. And then I've made a little list for myself. You can do it on your phone or whatever. But I like to keep track of what I'm doing so that I don't miss an email of theirs, right? So I've written all of the places, promoters, and clubs that I've reached out to. I've said I've reached out to them. And then I have another checkbox to see, have they responded? Yes, I tick that, and then I remember that I have to reply to that, because the worst thing would be if they actually respond to you, but you don't you don't follow up on it. So I see here unchecked boxes, so I know that I have to still look into, check up, did they respond? Because say if I were to send an email to 100 clubs, right? Hypothetically speaking, it would be hard to remember which ones I've already responded to or not out of my head. But if I've written down the ones which I've already responded to and which have already rejected me, bam, I don't have to contact them again, not for the time being. Or I can try to come at them from a different angle. Like, for example, I've done MOT directly and I've done Phonox directly. And if they reject me, maybe I can find out who's going to be promoting their future events and go through them, And I've also written down a couple here that I haven't reached out to yet because I want to have a sort of strategy with them where I haven't ever seen of them before. So these are like very specific small underground promoters, such as Skip the Warm Up, who promote for MOT, Slippery Slopes, who also promote for MOT and other clubs, Groovers London, who promote for Last Arch, as far as I know. And I want to come at them from a more organic point of view. So I don't want to cold DM them straight away. So I followed all of them on Instagram, and I'm gonna slowly start liking their posts. And some of them are quite a lot smaller with around 1,000 followers. So they might notice that I've been following them for a little while, that I've been liking their posts, that I'm a real person, which will make them more likely so that if next week or in a few days I actually send that message, they're not gonna be like, oh, this is a bot. So that's why I've written down the box. I haven't checked it yet. That way I know I still have to message these people. So that's my little system. You can copy it if you like, or let me know if you have a better system down below. What I'm also planning to do, and I recommend you guys do this too, because I did this a few years ago and I actually got a pretty good gig from it. And I met some of my favorite DJ friends that I'm still friends with to this day. Some of them actually put me on to gigs, and some of them hired me as their videographers or photographers. Go to Open Decks, bring all your friends, and make sure to support all the other DJs that are there. What I did is I brought my camera and my friend who's also a videographer. We showed up early and we recorded all of the other DJs' sets and sent them all of the material for free. By the way, if you don't know, Open Decks is where a pub or a club will host an event where anyone can come up and DJ. Well, not anyone, but you have to, so they'll say, we have an Open Decks coming up next week. Send your material here. You apply to that, and then basically you get accepted or not. You can DJ for them. You won't get paid, but the idea is you're DJing for exposure. Now, people don't like that, but it's far more likely for you to get an Open Decks if you don't have a name for yourself, especially at like bigger venues. It's a great point where you can get some experience, especially if it's the first or second time, and record footage that you can use as promo or as advertising material for your next application for a gig, a proper like paid gig and everything. So don't skip out on Open Decks. I would apply to those as well. In fact, I'm going to apply to them again because the last Open Decks I've had was, like I said, years ago. So I want to do one this year and meet some new DJs and try to connect with them, because other DJs are also a great way for you to get onto gigs, because sometimes a DJ will have a great connection with a promoter or club, and one of the other DJs in the lineup would have canceled, and it would just straight up ask the DJ, do you have any DJ friends? Like, I swear to you, that happens so often. DJ to DJ connections are unmissably good. You just cannot miss out. Speaking of, I have a Discord community linked in the description down below. Join up if you like. We're worldwide based, but there are some UK people as well. But maybe that works to your effect. Say you're in the US and you're trying to connect with some more US producers and DJs. They are there. So join up that Discord. I've linked it in the description down below. Long-winded thing to say, I'm going to go ahead and find some places to do Open Decks, and I'm going to apply to them as well. So I recommend you do that as well. Maybe 2 to 3 Open Decks at least. If you're, having a difficult time trying to gather material to like use as promo for applying to these gigs, first of all, do you have any sort of decks at home? If you do, like what I do, a DDJ 400, hella old. They have like the Flex 4 now, which is a replacement for it. If you happen to have one of those, set up a nice table in your kitchen or in the living room or even in your bedroom, wherever. Set up a camera, a phone camera. It will do great. It will be fine. Press record. Open up Rekordbox or whatever software you're using. Press record on there. Record for an hour or maybe a bit more. Put that together, upload that to YouTube, or hell, you don't even need the camera. I like having the camera there, but you could just put it on SoundCloud or Mixcloud so you have some sort of material. I like having the video element because in my mind it's like, okay, I am not shy. You know what I mean? Like, if these club promoters can see, okay, this is the guy, this is what he looks like while he's DJing, what else? There's nothing else we need to see from him. For them, they're taking less of a risk because they already know what I'm like performing, and they can see that I've actually performed that, and it's not like a fake mix or a mix from someone else. Just ask literally every single one of your friends to drop a comment and like your mix on whether that's YouTube or SoundCloud. I'm telling you, I'm sure you know 10 people, like you know at least 10 people, even people that you don't talk to anymore, bro. Use them. Like I have mass cold DM'd my friends to where they think I'm just DMing them, but honestly I'm DMing a lot of people. That makes me sound horrible, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm just trying to hustle here, and I'm just trying to make this thing work. And when they find out that you're doing something cool, they'll be happy to help, because guess what? They know that you're gonna return the favor, and I do. Whenever they have something, I try to come for that, or whenever they have a cool new post, I drop a comment. Engagement is a two-sided road. You can't just expect it to come your way if you're not giving it. You know what I mean? You have to ask for it as well. Like, hey, can you please drop a like on this? And then when the promoters see that your video has 10, 15 likes and a couple of comments, okay, it's like, oh, this is a real person. They have some real friends. Okay, so let's chat with this person. You know what I mean? I hope that's helpful to some extent. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Let me know if I should make a part 2. And I probably will make a part 2. Just like follow up on everything that's happened. See if any of these clubs have responded to me. My goal is to fill this whole sheet. So I think it's gonna fit like 20 promoters / clubs. I can do that. So just send it. Don't let that be an excuse for you to do nothing. You know what I mean? By the way, you should watch this video that has popped up on screen magically. Watch that one. Oh, it's probably my DJ set. Yeah, it's my DJ set. Watch that one. Okay, peace.